Hello my creative friends, I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. It's a classic dirty pour that starts off as a ring pour. And firstly, we get all of our white down onto the canvas, and as you can see, I just made a square and I'm just pulling that white evenly across the substrate, which is a 20 by 16 inch. When I'm satisfied that that white is all down, I layer my paints into this jug. By the way, that red stuff in the jug is dried resin, so there's no reason to be alarmed or think it's going to be contaminated. So layering that paint down, and as you can see, the consistency is quite thick. I love my consistency nice and thick, especially for dirty pours. So look at this kind of funny exaggerated zigzag pour move that I do, and in a moment you'll see that I drag the residual part of the paint across the substrate, and yes, you can see what it looks like, and I really kind of didn't like that look at all, and you'll see it properly when the jug's removed. So I'm looking at it going, excuse me, who did that on my pour? And I think to myself, what am I going to do to get rid of that? Easy peasy. I'll layer some more paint into my jug and just cover over that area. So that's what I get on with doing. Ring pour, ring pour, ring pour. It's a much more delicate ring pour this time. And of course, we all know that I don't like doing things in even numbers. It has to be odd. So I do a little miniature ring pour up there and over there. And really, I don't know why I'm bothered about worrying about what all this paint will look like, because I do a massive tilt session in a moment. I let the paint have a little bit of time to sit and spread out and let those effects come up. So the cells that have naturally occurred through the friction of the paint. And so in a moment I'll start to tilt, and you'll see it happen quite quickly, it's because the speed is ×4. And in a moment I just pull a few little lumps out of the paint that I can see, and then we really get onto a serious tilting session. I can see that it looks like I'm going quite fast, but the tilt itself is quite controlled. And sorry about the jolty camera moves. It's because I've sped the whole process of videoing up, because it can be so boring watching tilting. But if you can imagine that this is ×4 and it goes for about 2 minutes, so you know that was well controlled. And you can see that I bring my movements back to the center or thereabouts, and just I'm continually watching my shapes and making sure that I like the patterns, not trying to overstretch them too much, and making sure that the composition for myself is nice. And I really love this one. It reminded me lots of mookaite, the agate stone, and I also could see outback Australia very much with the kind of orangey reddy look that emerged from the brown and the gold paints mixing together. And it will look quite different upon drying as the gold moves away from being yellow and we're coming in for a close-up now. As the gold moves away from being yellow, as you can see there, it becomes a truer gold. It'll look fantastic. I can't wait to show it to you in a few days. Sorry about my washing machine being in the background. I'm a real live person and wash my clothes. Oh, it is pretty shocking. I hope you forgive me. Anyway, it's a pretty cool pour and I really, really like it. I love the effects that it's offered, and as you know, if you've been watching me for a while, I love lines, a lot of lines in my work, and this has offered a really good combination of lines with delicate cells that naturally emerged through the friction of the paint rubbing together and stretching while it tilts. Hooray, we're finished! Thank you everyone for your wonderful likes and comments and support and creating such a fabulous little community that we have together. Have a glorious creative day.